Kissimmee, Florida annually, as it is a twin to their Bournemouth church in England. Both Al and Geoff are accomplished and gifted mediums and teachers. The reading today will be led by Geoff and the lecture by Al. And if you have not heard these gentlemen before, you are certainly in for a treat. It is my pleasure to introduce the Potts brothers.
Thank you. Good morning, friends. Can I say how wonderful it is to be back in Cassadaga again? We love coming here, of course. It's a great privilege to us. What we're going to do first, before Al does the lecture, I'm going to do a reading which Al has chosen by Ursula Roberts, and it's entitled The Aim of Spirit Revelation. Beloved ones, remember that skepticism is like a cold wind which blows from your mind and moves like a gale within the atmosphere of earth. And remember that love is like a warmth which comes from your soul and makes easy the work of the Spirit. Materialistic desires and materialistic thought enfold Earth's children like a tenuous armor, which again makes difficult the work of the spirits, who would come to you with their influence. Remember that prayer is a purification of the inward being, and as you pray, as you uplift your thoughts unto the God whom you call your Father, the Master Creator of the nights and the days, so is your own spiritual being warmed and purified. I've lost my space. Yes, and it says, steps of light are built by you continuing endeavor in prayer. Pray often and love much, if you would be mediums. Pray often and love very greatly, you who are mediums. Prayer becomes your armor, and love becomes your cloak. And when you are cloaked in love and armored in prayer, then do you make easy and light the work of those whom you call the guardians of your soul. We would wish to see these great steps of prayer rising from earth into every highest places of the spirit world. For downward on such ladders of light, we are able to come with healing and with beauty, with teaching and with joy, with peace and with love unto all earth's children. Most surely do I say to you, where such ladders of prayer are raised, then we can say there is no soul on earth who is a lost soul. There is no soul on earth who cannot be helped and redeemed. For on the ladders of light, the ministering spirit may come, and through their mediums may uplift, heal, strengthen, and touch with radiance these on the earth who so sadly need the blessing of the great Christ love, and the light and the peace of the Spirit. Here's Al.
Well, good morning, friends. It's good morning from him, and a good morning from me, too. I chose that particular reading because it talks so much of love and so much of trust, you see. To work with Spirit, we have to trust. I know that through experience, because like many people, I have gone through that situation where I lost that trust for a while. But then, once you gain that trust, there is nothing in this world that you cannot do. I look at my spiritualism today, and then look back and think how long spiritualism has been around. We can go right back to the early days of the Christian church, which was formed just after the death of Jesus. And in those days, the church leaders, the church fathers, were all called seers. Now, that's just another word, really, for mediums. And so mediumship goes back a heck of a long way. Although in 350 AD, Emperor Constantine, who decided to convert to Christianity, decided to bring his own form of Christianity into being. And in doing so, decided it was time for the seers to leave the Catholic Church because they were becoming too popular. And so then the mediumship was cast out of the church. And many of the great mediums of the past were either beheaded or burnt at the stake, were treated so badly because of their belief that life was indeed eternal. And even today we are criticized still by other religions because they all talk about a life after death, but it is spiritualism that proves it. And that is the big difference. This is where we come into conflict, in a way, with those other religions. But you see, our religion of spiritualism is built on love, that little word that has such a great meaning. And without love, what can we do in this world? We live in a world which is really controlled today excuse me, by materialism. And for many of the young people, and I know we have a few in the centre today, materialism is very important to them. You know, I was saying recently about a television program at home in the United Kingdom, and it was focused on a family in their own home. And there were two sisters sat on the sofa talking to each other through the cell phone. And I began to wonder what has happened to communication. We can communicate with spirit easier today than we can with each other. And it's a sad reflection on society today. And yet, I'm not knocking materialism, I'm not knocking the future of things, because, you know, we have to move forward. We have to look forward to change. You know, when you get to our age of 39 and a bit, we don't always like change. We are terrible. We don't like change at all, and yet we have to face it. We have to move forward. We have to progress. And if we stick in the past, which is very nice to go back to, then we're going to stagnate. And so, by the reading this morning was talking about prayer. And what have we done this morning? We opened with a prayer. It's a communication with that higher consciousness that you and I call God. And it's a personal one-to-one. Now, I never look upon God in the material form. We feel that God is that universal consciousness, that divine intelligence that's within each and every one of us. The spark of that resides within you and I, and not one of us is greater than the other. Because we stand up here on a rostrum and talk, it doesn't make us any better than you. And we are no more forward in our thinking than you. I always think that that divine source that's within each and every one of us enables us to do anything that we want to do. But we have to believe that we can. You see, how many of us are negative? How many of us think, oh, I couldn't possibly do that? You see two of them there. We're no different. But if we truly believe in ourselves, we can move mountains. Not that I'm going to do that today, but we can do anything. You know, we look at things as challenges, and that's how we should look at them. Not as, you know, being, oh, I'm going to be disappointed if I try that. No way. We have to look forward, you know. We have to watch our thoughts. They are very special things. Watch our thoughts, because thoughts become words. And watch your words, for they become actions. Watch your actions because they become habits. And so important that we think very carefully about what we say. How many of us go out and we judge people? We take a look along the road. Oh, I'm not sure if I like that one. Or I might like this one in the second row. You know, we make a judgment. We judge the book by the cover. We don't bother to open it up to see what is inside, to see the beauty that's inside each and every person. Because we've all been given that beauty, that divine essence from that universal consciousness that we, for want of a better word, call God. God really comes from the word good. You know, I was reading something recently about a teacher. I might have said this here before, I don't know. About a teacher who was looking over the shoulder of a little boy in his class who was doing a drawing. And the teacher said, "Jimmy, what's that you're drawing?" "Oh," he said, "sir, that's a picture of God." So the teacher said, "But Jimmy, nobody knows what God looks like." The little boy looked up and said, "They will when I'm finished." You see, that word God, wow. How can we perceive such an enormous power? I think it's impossible. I can come around everybody, you'll all have your opinion of what God is to you. But it's impossible to perceive the enormity of that power that's within everything that lives, moves, and has its being. Everything within not only this world, but the entire universe. In the tiniest grain of sand to the greatest mountain. So we can't be where that power is not. That power is always with us. You know, I always loved that wonderful lady, Mother Teresa. Yes, she wasn't a spiritualist, but she was spiritual. You see, there's sometimes a difference. We can say that we're a spiritualist, but do we act out our spiritualism every day? Or are we just a spiritualist on a Sunday when we come to the church or the temple? See, to me, spiritualism is more than just the word. It is something very important. It's how we treat our fellow human beings. Mother Teresa was so full of love. And she said, if you judge someone, you can't love them. And that is so true. It all begins with love. It really does. I always think so. And then you see, in many religions, they ask us to look towards the light. Of course, Laurie was talking about the light this morning in her meditation. And you know, Plato had a wonderful saying. He says, we can forgive a child who's afraid of the dark. The real tragedy is when men are afraid of the light. Isn't that a lovely saying? Because so many people have no belief at all. I have so many friends that they say, oh, when you're dead, you're dead. Well, we'll soon find out one of these days, I am sure. And I wonder what kind of surprise they will have on their faces when they move to that next phase of life in the etheric world. You know, Andrew Jackson Davis is one of my favorites. He was born in 1828 in Bloomingdale, Orange Grove, New York State. He was wonderful. He could induce himself into the altered state of consciousness or the trance-like state. And there were always at least 16 to 20 people around him taking notes. And he came back to tell us that there are 7 phases of consciousness. But within each phase are many different levels of consciousness. And that you and I are living in phase 1 now, the lowest one. And of course, this is where we come across all the difficulties and the joys of life in this earth. None of us has gone through life experiencing joy all the time. Otherwise, we would learn nothing. We have to have the ups and downs, climb the mountains, come back down again, so that we can experience this physical life. And what we're doing, we're preparing the soul, the spirit, for its journey to the next phase of consciousness. Preparing it, because if we don't, if we have this attitude of life on this earth plane really doesn't matter, are we going to be pleased when we end this task on the earth plane and then begin the next task in the etheric world in phase 2? Are we going to be disappointed, or are we going to be overjoyed at the level of consciousness that we receive? Ooh, it takes some thinking about, doesn't it? When we think of all the things that we have to face on this difficult life through this earth plane. And there's no one that hasn't gone through difficulties. If I was to ask you all, I'm sure you've had your ups, but you've certainly had your down moments. I know we have. But hey, get up. Brush yourself down and start all over again, as the song says. We have to. You know, we can't just live in the past. We can't live within negativity. We can only survive properly in positivity, in that love that we have so abundantly within each and every one of us. But you see, it's no good if we keep it to ourselves. You know, it's like opening a bank account. You know, if we don't put something into it, we aren't going to get anything out of it. And so it's up to you and I in this life to give what we can. I'm not talking about financially, but give with the love that we have within our hearts to all those people who are in need at this time. And you see, I don't think we would get through life if we didn't have those difficulties, because we would have nothing to learn. That's the difficulty. You know, there's a lovely saying also by Plato, which I love. It says, wise men speak because they have something to say. Fools because they have to say something. Might have done that so many times. So many times opened the mouth. It's gone into, you know, action before the brain gets into gear. It happens to all of us. But we have this gift inside of us, a gift that was given so freely. Let us not waste it. Let us use it to the best of our ability and reach out and touch those people who are less fortunate than ourselves. That's all that divine essence that we call God asks of us. We're never going to be perfect on this earth plane. I know Lou is, but... No, we're never going to be perfect on this earth plane, but we can work towards perfection, but not in this life, not in the next phase, not in the one after that. But eventually, when we blend with that universal consciousness that we call God, well, we have something really to look forward to. And I am losing my voice, and I don't know why. So it's up to us. It's up to us to reach within, find that positive energy, that love within, and instead of just keeping it all to ourselves, look towards those people who are really in need of it. You know, I look at our world today. Have we progressed? I mean, they said after the first 2 wars, big wars, World War I and II, that was the end of the wars. It's still going on, isn't it? Because of the negativity within those people who rule our world, or the countries of our world. Oh, you're an angel. Thank you, darling. Thank you for that gin. It was lovely. Yeah, she forgot to put the tonic in it, though. That's the only job. So we all have an opportunity in this life to not only better ourselves, because that's what we're doing. If we reach out to other people, we're not only helping them, we're helping ourselves. And I can see by the look on all of your faces this morning that you're ready to go out and take that challenge. You know, because it is a challenge. You know, we can't be good all the time. Well, I can't anyway. But we can at least make the effort. Try to be the best that we possibly can every day of our lives. And when we fail, it doesn't matter. Let's start again and reach for the highest within each and every one of us that we can possibly be. It's there. It just wants tapping into. It really does. You know, Geoff often says this, we cannot be where God isn't. And that's true. It's within us all the time. So let us utilize that wonderful source that's in us. And let us have people look at us and think, you know, I think there's something good within that person. I really can. It's there. We just have to find it. And I think I've bored you for long enough. I just want to say what a pleasure it is to come to Cassadaga. We always love coming here because you're all so positive. Look at Laurie, she's so positive. You're all so positive. And that's what we should be. Reach out and spread that love, that little word that has such a big meaning. Don't ever say, I can't do it. Because if you do, then you won't. Always be positive and say, I can do anything that I want. And then when I come to you and I say, can you give me $1,000 today? You're going to say, I can do it, aren't you? I don't think so. All I need and all we all need is that wonderful love. So can I leave that with you? Thank you very much.